kind of released. So what they can do over here. So okay, let's take it from a different way. What I will do is like you guys tell me now what could have been done seeing this timeline. Okay, what could have been done to kind of avoid that attack from ever happening on the Equifax. So and I will kind of record your points and we'll have a discussion on that. So the floor is yours. And now see the timeline. Let me know what good thing you could have done being a part of SOC team to avoid this thing. Let's say similar thing happening in your organization or in your client environment from ever happening. So give me 7 points on that.
Sir, the first point we can do is like we can monitor the events that was happening in the environment. Like we can continuously monitor what kind of IP outside IP is continuously monitoring the environment, and we can suggest our firewall team to block that particular IP. So we can, first of all, we can look after the event logs. So from that event logs, we can come to know an initial thing, what is happening at the back end.
Okay, good. And so any other team, guys, you would think like will be involved? So what I mean is that SOC, go on.
So actually, the first thing that happened is because the patch was released in March 6th. So when the patch was released, so as soon as patch was released, the patch management team they should have applied the patch because they were lenient and they kept it unaddressed, and the attackers, after seeing the vulnerability, they were able to penetrate the network and they got hold of the network. Yeah. And one more thing is whether I don't know whether they had the DLP in place because when the data exploitation is happening, so we will get the logs from the DLP that the attacker is trying to get data out from the network, and we can stop it in the first place.
Correct.
Another thing is, as a SOC analyst, we can also do threat hunting, like manual threat hunting. We can look for like we have some critical servers, so we can manually look at those logs whether some activity is going over there. So that is like manual threat we can do to find any anomalies or any suspect activity going on. So that is one more thing we can do as a SOC analyst. If there is like we're not getting any alerts, any rules, so we can manually do that stuff.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So thing is that before kind of accepting other answers, thing is that let's first talk about the points that have been mentioned till now. So definitely, first thing was told is March 6th, let's say when the patch was released. So one of the good point is that definitely SOC team comprises of different other teams like vulnerability. So guys, maybe you can kind of mute for a minute. I think there's some echo. Okay. So now thing is that let's talk about that, like the points that has been discussed till now. So the patch management team. So definitely it was one of the responsibility of the patch management team. Okay, let's say PMT. To kind of once this patch was released, they should have been the first team actually to kind of scan their whole infrastructure, scan the whole Equifax infrastructure, and kind of figure out, okay, what are the servers which has that vulnerability, and patch them at that point of time. Let's say in 1 week, okay, from March 6th to next 1 week, max, they should have kind of patched the vulnerability. Okay, but here let's say it was the attack happened after 4 days, so 1 week is definitely kind of a long time which you can understand. And thing is that let's say the Apache web server vulnerability, Apache Struct vulnerability was of critical nature. Let's say it was having a score of let's say 9.8 in a scale of 1 to 10. It was having 9.8. So in that case, the patch management team, definitely it was. So the patch management team would have kind of scanned and patched the vulnerability in let's say max 2 days. Okay, so this is one of the things that was kind of missed by the patch management team over there, which we should kind of make sure that doesn't happen for the client that we work for or in our own organization. So that's one thing. Now, the other thing is that on March 10, the attackers scanned the server. Okay, so as one of you guys told that, okay, we should have monitored the scanning IP. So definitely that would kind of be one of the things that, okay, uh, we are scanning, we are monitoring the traffic, network traffic, and let's say we have set up we had an alert where it says that, okay, what kind of scanning is in place, and let's say the SOC team got an alert. The SOC team duty over here would be to kind of uh, tries the alert. Okay, I understand like scanning is something which is kind of quite normal. Okay, you can't like kind of keep on pricing the alert which is only based off scanning. But if that scanning has certain additional information, let's say the scanning is towards the, so most of the time the alert that comes to our organization, to the SOC team, is that scanning is being done, but what kind of scanning? Certain more details. Let's say over here details were that since the patch was already released, so the IDS would have some signature where it would have highlight that some person is doing a scanning, and they're also scanning for a specific, let's say, vulnerability, for an example. Okay, so this alert should have come to the SOC team, and the SOC team should have kind of trashed the alert, and based on that, they would kind of they would have done two things. One is definitely kind of see that, okay, rather than kind of blocking it, maybe they could have seen that, okay, what other activities does this attacker is doing. Okay, the reason is that why we shouldn't block it quickly is that if we block it, for an example, let's say the attacker IP address is 2.2.2.2, and what we do is like first we collect the intelligence. Okay, before containment, we collect the intelligence as much as possible. So this will kind of help us know that, okay, over here that, okay, what kind of vulnerabilities that this attacker is scanning. Okay, what kind of other things that this attacker is kind of specific from this specific IP address they are trying to scan. What are the different servers they're trying to scan? From which country they belong to? What is the time duration when they are active? So a lot of information will kind of come up if we kind of keep on kind of collecting intelligence from the IP address when they are in the scanning phase. Okay, so if what would happen is if we block them, the thing is that they would change the IP address. For an example, let's say from 2.2.2, they would change that to 6.6.6.6, for an example, and now we would be kind of in a spot where we would not know what's the new IP address of the same attacker, and we would not be able to kind of relate that, okay, this attack and this attack that is scanning activities ongoing are kind of same, are kind of bound to the same attacker. So in most of the cases, what we can do is like we should avoid kind of blocking it at the first step. Once we have collected the intelligence about that IOC or the IP address, then definitely we can kind of we should kind of proceed with blocking it. So this is one thing where again I think the SOC team of that company missed, where they would have tried the alert, they would have collected the intelligence, and then they would have, as one of the guy mentioned, like they should have kind of blocked the thing going forward once the intelligence has been kind of captured. Okay, now the other thing is that as you mentioned, by March 10, um, uh, let's say from the May 13 now the other things like threat hunting or DLP, this will definitely kind of something would come up in the May 13 timeline. Okay, so let's say so they had actually a 2 months time gap, almost 2 to 3 months time gap, by where the Equifax team would have kind of uh, passed their system. They would have kind of got an alert, they would have scanned, and kind of they would have conducted threat hunting, like if there are any kind of attacker who have exploited the vulnerability in their system, and they already have got hold of their servers. So this is something that they could have done with the help of the threat hunting, actually figuring out anomalies. But the thing is that it happened the opposite. So the thing is that the Equifax guys were actually knowing that there is a system which has this vulnerability, but actually they didn't took any action in kind of patching the vulnerability. Okay, so that was the biggest miss over there. Okay, and thing is that again, one of the things could have been done here is kind of enrolling to the threat intel feed. So obviously Equifax case was not